Now here is the risk that the Browns had to take with I love you, Cleveland. And I love you, Ohio. And a very pleasant welcome to this week's version of Bonus Time with Drennan here on the Big Play Sports Network. Brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel. Hi, I'm Bruce Drennan along with Ryan Smith. We welcome you to this week's show. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, Bruce. It's hump day, getting midway through the week, and wouldn't want to be anywhere else but here on Bonus Time with you.
Well, we have a really action-packed show for you. A lot on the Browns. Obviously the NFL, college football. We have the Ask Bruce segment, but it's only right that we start the show with the Guardians. They deserve to be the lead story, do they not? The 7-5 victory by the Guardians over the first-place Detroit Tigers last night was an obvious playoff atmosphere. The victory in this critical opener of the three-game series against the divisional leaders puts the Guards at 79-71. The 8 games above 500 ties the high for the season. Now, it's a long, long season, as we all know. It was way back on May the 13th that the team was 25-17. Here in September, Cleveland is 11-4, and they've won 10 of 11. The Guards are now 2.5 games behind Boston for the final wild card spot. Who would have thought? As you know, I think our team is really a year away. I'm very excited about the future with all these talented young pitchers and the promise of all these young position players. However, I can't help but applaud the resiliency of this 2025 version. Remember, we lost 10 in a row in July and had a 1-9 stretch in August. On July the 6th, Cleveland was 40-48. I really do love this group. Manager Stephen Vogt says how proud he is of their resiliency. And last night was great proof of that. 1 out away from a win in the bottom of the 9th inning when Kerry Carpenter launched a Cade Smith fastball for a game-tying home run. Now that's demoralizing. Imagine if you're one of the players. That's demoralizing, but not this bunch. The Never Say Die Guardians answered with 4 runs on a double by Stephen Kwan, a triple by Angel Martinez, and another double by Jose. The win cuts the Detroit lead to 5.5 games for the divisional crown. However, with only 12 games remaining, winning the division would be one of the greatest comebacks in Major League history. Let me examine that for a moment. The biggest comebacks, 1951. The New York Giants of Leo DeRocher trailed the Brooklyn Dodgers by 13 games in the middle of August. They forced a 3-game playoff, and they won the pennant with the shot heard round the world, Bobby Thompson. They lost to the New York Yankees in 6 games in the World Series. 1964, the St. Louis Cardinals caught Philadelphia with only 12 games remaining. The Cards trailed by 6.5 games. They went on a streak in those last 2 weeks, and Harry Carey, the late great voice of the Cardinals, kept singing at the end of each and one of those victories, "The Cardinals are coming, tra-la, tra-la, the Cardinals are coming, tra-la, tra-la." And did they come back? Only to beat the New York Yankees in the World Series in 7 games. 1969, New York Mets. As late as August 14th, the Mets trailed the Chicago Cubs by 10 games. but they went 38-11 to close out the season, and combined with the Cubs choking, they wound up winning the division by 8 games over Chicago. They wound up beating Baltimore in the World Series in 5 games. And the 1973 New York Mets were 11 games out in early August. The Mets on August 30th were in last place. They won the division with merely an 82-79 record. That's the worst in history for a winning team. They beat the Big Red Machine in the playoffs, and they lost to the Oakland A's in the World Series in 7 games. And then in 2007, Colorado went 14-1, including a tie-breaking game against San Diego for a wild card spot, and were swept by the Boston Red Sox in the World Series. So comebacks can occur. This would rank with one of these, Ryan.
What the Guardians have been able to do in this last portion of the season, Bruce, is nothing short of incredible. When you factor in that Jose Ramirez and Steven Kwan, and I know this has been a point that a lot of people make, and it's kind of beating a dead horse, but are the only batters batting above 250, Bruce. That is just absolutely absurd. And you talk about the pitching. You've gotten in this last part of the season phenomenal outings, but really best outings of their careers in Gavin Williams, Slade Ciccone, and Tanner Bybee, who went for that complete game. They're just all clicking at the right time.
Don't forget about Messick.
And Parker Messick, who's coming in and doing his thing. You just can't say good enough thing about this team, Bruce. And you say it all the time. Once you get into the dance, anything can happen. It's about what team is playing the hottest in October, and right now there's not many teams hotter than our Cleveland Guardians.
Don't you agree with what I'm saying about next season, though?
Absolutely.
Too?
How could you not?
As long as these young position players develop and better themselves offensively, Ryan, that's a real key. All right. The Browns are next on Bonus Time on Big Play Sports. Hi, Bruce Drennan here for my good friends out at Menor Nissan and Infinity of Akron and Infinity of Beechwood. My good buddy Ray Sminchak and now his new partner Jamie Pillar are the owners of these dealerships. And as you know, I drive 2 Menor Nissan Rogues and used to have the Murano. Love them. Took them to Florida. Just great. Best offers on new Nissan purchases or leases. And they have impressive selection of certified pre-owned and top used cars. Menor Nissan prides themselves on having a knowledgeable and friendly sales team who will help get you into fuel-efficient, innovative, and stylish models to suit your needs. Their superior credit program and helpful finance team will help you every step of the way. Menor Nissan, of course, located minutes off I-90 in beautiful Menor, Ohio. To check out their latest selection and offers, visit MenorNissan.com. That's MenorNissan.com. I strongly recommend Menor Nissan, Infinity of Akron, Infinity of Beechwood. I love you, Menor Nissan. 2022 was the year the NFL was realigned with a 32-team alignment. Since then, 190 teams have started the season at 0-2. Only 18 of those 190 have gone on to make the playoffs. That's a 9.5% chance. Furthermore, since the inception of the National Football League playoffs back in 1933, only 8.6% of all those teams starting at 0-2 have gone on to make the playoffs. 10 NFL teams have started this season at 0-2. That, of course, includes the Kansas City Chiefs. Last year, 3 different teams started at 0-2, but rallied to qualify for the playoffs. Denver was one, Baltimore was another. LA Rams were the third. Of the 10 teams that have started 0-2 this year, CBS Sportsline ranked all 10 from most to be concerned about or least to be concerned about. They rank Cleveland as the least likely team to turn things around and make the playoffs. Do you blame them? So with that being said, why is head coach Kevin Stefanski sticking with 40-year-old Joe Flacco as the quarterback. At his weekly press conference following this embarrassing loss to Baltimore, and that's what Myles Garrett called it, an embarrassment. Stefanski said, and I quote, "Collectively, the Browns offense did not do a good job." Duh. No kidding. That's what Myles Garrett called it, an embarrassment. Stefanski said, and I quote, "Collectively, the Browns offense did not do a good job." Duh. No kidding. Really? Stefanski said, "I don't think it's fair to talk about a quarterback change right now," quote unquote. So when will it be fair? When they're 0-5? When they're 1-10? When they're 2-14? And that's giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to win 1 or 2 games. Stefanski's job has got to be on the line. He's got to be on the hot seat more than any other coach in the NFL after only 2 weeks. The offense is a total joke. And Stefanski's supposed to be an offensive strategist, an offensive specialist. I dare say genius. I don't blame Flacco. The guy's 40 years old. His receivers were covered. He's got to break out of the pocket. He can't scramble and complete passes with those legs, nor run for a first down or even gain yardage. Come on, coach, wake up before it's too late. So why not Gabriel? Now! Let's get the kid's feet wet. Let's see what he can do. Let's develop him and see if he's got what it takes. And same thing with Sanders. This season is lost. It's gone. It's over as far as the playoffs. Face the reality of it. For God's sakes. But Stefanski is staying with Flacco, and the longer he does, the worse this is going to get. Ryan.
I'm in complete agreement with you, Bruce. It's almost as if the Browns are scared to go find out what they have in a Dillon Gabriel and eventually a Shedeur Sanders. Like, there's no keeping the season on the rails. That's the only argument you could make to keep Joe Flacco still in the game under center to lead out this Browns offense. You're going against the best defense in the NFL through 2 weeks in the Green Bay Packers. I don't care if you're home. The defense can play as well as they did against Cincinnati, and you can still get a loss. Like, if anything, if you're going to try to win this game, the right move would be to put in a Dillon Gabriel, a guy who at least can move out of the pocket a little bit, and you're giving him a chance against a defense that doesn't have any tape on him. If you're relying on Joe Flacco, who's an absolute statue in the pocket, to go beat this team, Green Bay, with Micah Parsons chasing Flacco around, it's a recipe for disaster. It's almost like Kevin Stefanski is so scared to go put out Dillon Gabriel because if he finds out that neither of these kids are good as well, then by week 10, you're looking at it with no quarterbacks in your room that you feel confident about rolling out, and it kind of seems like he's trying to delay the inevitable.
Well, then it's Barry on the hot seat as well as Stefanski.
Absolutely, it should be.
The defense, the positives, I have 3 positives from the game. One is the defense. But do you blame them for giving up in the second half when they see how inept and how terrible this offense is? I don't blame them at all. The other positive was Judkins. I thought he ran very hard. I like his potential very much. I'll tell you what, though, Baltimore did their scouting very well. They shut down Sampson, the kid from Tennessee, and the tight end Fannin from Bowling Green. They did their homework on those two, who both had a real good opening game against Cincinnati. And the other positive is Bjorkes didn't get crippled. My goodness gracious. He's the second best player on the team. I need a drink.
You know, Bruce, it's so sad because the offense, it's one thing to be bad, but it looks like they're playing a completely different sport out there. The problem for Joe Flacco, he had plenty of time. The offensive line wasn't good by any means, but there were plenty of times where Joe Flacco was in the pocket for 4 or 5 seconds. Kevin Stefanski couldn't scheme anybody open. And for a guy, as you mentioned, who's supposed to be on offense.
But, Ryan, you got to give credit to the coverage of Baltimore, too, though.
Certainly. They have a good secondary. There's no doubt about it. Kyle Hamilton's a game record. Nate Wiggins is there. You still have Marlon Humphrey. There's no doubt about it. They're a good, strong unit. But the fact is, you have to be able to scheme guys open.
Yeah,
it makes no sense. Joe Flacco's average depth of target through that first half, I'd be surprised if it was damn near above 2 yards. Kyle Hamilton was sniffing out every screen. Kevin Stefanski had no answers, and at some point that has to fall on a head coach.
All right, when we come back, we'll look at the rest of the National Football League. That's next on Bonus Time with Drennan here on the Big Play Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Smart Choice Windows, energy-efficient products at an affordable price. Visit smartchoicewindows.com today.
All right, Ryan and I are going to take a look at some of the other key games in the National Football League this last weekend. Let's start with Cincinnati's 31-27 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jake Browning came in, saved the day after Joe Burrow hurt his toe. By the way, he's going to be out for months. That's amazing. The game was tied at 24 heading into the fourth quarter. Does this kill Cincinnati's chances for the playoffs, Ryan?
Yes. My initial thought is yes. Now, Jake Browning is a capable quarterback, but the turnovers, and you saw that be a thorn in their side in week 2, they're barely able to escape. I think it's way too much to overcome for a full season length.
And Jacksonville actually played well enough to win this game, too. They were my pick in their division. They got a tough game coming up. We'll get to that in the next segment. Seattle 31, Pittsburgh 17. Steelers kick returner Caleb Johnson has got to get a crash course on the NFL rules. Football, basic. I mean, come on. The stupid blunder on the kickoff? Now, if you're a Steelers fan, more importantly, you've got to be concerned about your messiah, Aaron Rodgers. A quarterback rating of 58? He was absolutely horrible with 2 picks. Your take on this one?
The Steelers are not the Steelers this year, Bruce. It's the defense that they can usually rest their laurels on, and that's not the case. Their defense has been awful through the first 2 weeks. You mentioned Caleb Johnson, who did not have a good camp and looks to be continuing trending downwards. And for the defense, TJ Watt, where's he been? I believe it's 6 straight games without a sack for TJ Watt. He's not even in the same stratosphere as Myles Garrett anymore, so that argument can get put to bed. And again, Aaron Rodgers looks like a 41-year-old quarterback. Saw him throw across his body. He's just not able to do that anymore. If their defense isn't up to the task, their offense isn't going to be either. And right now, Pittsburgh Steelers looking on the outside. I know it's only 2 weeks, but I didn't have them making the playoffs this season. It doesn't look like they're going to.
How about how embarrassing that was on that kickoff?
That's a Cleveland Browns move, Bruce. That's the complete opposite of what Steelers football is. The standard's the standard. You don't make mental mistakes like that. That was a Cleveland Browns move.
All right, Buffalo 30, the New York Jets 10. Josh Allen shook off a bloody nose and showed his toughness, leading his team to a 2-0 start. Is this going to be their year?
I sure hope so, Bruce. I mean, I'd rather have them than the Baltimore Ravens, of course. The Chiefs are still there. The Chargers are probably right now the front runners with them based through 2 weeks. But Josh Allen is something special. James Cook yesterday, I shouldn't say yesterday, week 2 looked absolutely tremendous. He was the main reason they won that game. But sometimes that's what you need. You need good players around you, and Josh Allen is elite, and he raises players to his level.
The LA Chargers 20, the Las Vegas Raiders 9. Justin Herbert with another great game. Quarterback rating 122.8. That's phenomenal. Harbaugh over Pete Carroll. Interesting. I think they're now even career-wise coaching. That goes back, of course, to when Harbaugh was at San Francisco, Ryan.
Justin Herbert right now probably the front runner to win that MVP. The Chargers defense was number 1 last year. They look to compete for that again to the number 1 spot this year, 2 years in a row. And the most interesting part is their run game, which everybody figured was going to be their strength. It hasn't even started yet. O'Marion Hampton has not looked good. It's been Quentin Johnson. It's been Keenan Allen, who's damn near 40 years old. Not really, but he seems like it. Who's producing still, but that's what great teams do. They find ways to win, and once that running game gets going, look out for the LA Chargers.
The Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles went into Arrowhead and beat Kansas City 20-17. It was 10-10 at halftime. Hurts over Mahomes. Good game for Saquon Barkley. Philadelphia is now 17-1 in their last 18 games. Question is this the beginning of the end of the Kansas City dynasty?
It's hard to count them out, Bruce, but it certainly looks like it. You don't nearly have a defense as you had in your Steve Spagnuolo days. You don't have offensive weapons with Xavier Worthy being hurt and Rashee Rice out. You can't really rely on Travis Kelce anymore, and Patrick Mahomes not playing to that level. The Eagles are a tough team. They ran it out on the ground, and the tush push ultimately secured them the win. But right now, you're going 0-2 in a division with the Broncos and the Chargers, who look to be a threat. This could be the year, Bruce. I'm not going to say they missed the playoffs, but for the first time since Patrick Mahomes has become a starter, I don't have him in the AFC Championship game.
Well, you got Denver and the Chargers in that same division, too.
Yeah.
And I mentioned those facts of 0-2 teams starting the season and their chances so diminished in making the playoffs. So few teams have done it. Tampa Bay 20, Houston 19. Baker Mayfield, an 11-play, 80-yard drive for a touchdown with 6 seconds remaining to win this game.
Say what you will about Baker, man. I miss that I'm going to get it whenever I want it attitude. Since he came into 2023, leads the league in passing touchdowns, leads the league in passing yards. Now, you can say about what you want about deep playoff runs. We'll see if it happens this year. But, Bruce, touchdowns, passing yards, those are two things that come in premium for the Cleveland Browns. I'm not saying it would have worked out. Probably wouldn't have. But, boy, would it be nice to have him at center right now.
Well, at least they would win more games.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dallas 40, the New York Giants 37. But again, I don't want to contradict myself because I was in favor of the Watson move. I threw a caveat in there that if it backfired, which it has, it will set the franchise back at least 5 years, which it has. But I just Mayfield's not going to lead Tampa Bay to the Super Bowl. They're not going to do it, and he wouldn't have done it here in Cleveland either, was my bottom line. Dallas 40, the New York Giants 37. In a losing cause, Russell Wilson 30 of 41 for 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 123. What does that say about the Dallas defense?
3 takeaways from this game for me, Bruce. Malik Neighbors is an absolute superstar. The Cowboys secondary is the worst unit maybe in all of football. And Brandon Aubrey is an absolute weapon, by far the best kicker in the league.
Think they wish they had Parsons back?
They could have used him. Oh, my goodness.
Indianapolis 29, Denver 28. First 2-0 start for the Colts since 2009. Bo Nix, really good in a losing cause.
Broncos are really kicking themselves. They should have won the game. Indianapolis missed the field goal. There was an encroachment, I believe, penalty on the defense. They moved in 5 yards, and they kicked the game-winning field goal. Colts might be real, Bruce. Now, we'll see when it comes down to it, but Daniel Jones has been playing tremendously well.
It's a winnable division.
It is a very winnable division. Right now, Daniel Jones has never had problems, very accurate underneath. It's been when he's pressured, but this season, Shane Steichen has worked wonders with him, and Jonathan Taylor's a beast.
In Atlanta 22, Minnesota 6. Last year, Minnesota was 14-3 in the regular season. Think of that. Bian Robinson rushed for 143 yards in this game. Parker Romo was 5 for 5 in field goals, and the Falcon defense sacked J.J. McCarthy 6 times, forcing 3 turnovers, and knocked the former Wolverine quarterback out with a knee injury.
Just a complete ugly game. Neither team could get it when they got into the red zone. Bijan Robinson, the best running back in the league. You can make an argument for Saquon, but due to youth and cutting ability, it's Bijan Robinson. And for the Vikings, they look undisciplined, which is not very common for a Kevin O'Connell offense. J.J. McCarthy, not a good game. He's going to be out a couple weeks. Carson Wentz starting for the Vikings. How about that?
Yeah, Carson Wentz. All right, when Ryan and I get back, we will take a look at how we did in our picks last week and look at some games forthcoming in the upcoming weekend in the NFL. That's next on Bonus Time with Drennan here on Big Play.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Pure AV, luxury home automation. Experience your dream smart home by visiting pureavcorp.com.
Not exactly a great start for us last week, Ryan.
It's all right. It's only week 2.
Yeah, we didn't pick them for week 1, so we actually started in week 2, which I was giving us the benefit of the doubt, and that certainly didn't help. Ryan went 2-4. Now we pick them with the spreads. I went 1-5. But this week we'll try again. I've got a whole bunch of games here. Here we go. Let me start with this one. Green Bay -8.5 in Cleveland. How can you go with the Browns? How can you go with the Browns? I gotta take Green Bay.
Not even a thought for me, Bruce. 8.5. I was shocked when I saw how low the line was. I thought it was going to be 10. It's only because the Browns are home, and I don't care if they're home. Looking at that offense, you need more than home field advantage to fix that.
And Green Bay may be the best team. If anybody's going to dethrone Philadelphia over there, I think it might be Green Bay. Jacksonville is 1.5 at home against Houston. I'm taking the Jags. Houston's due for a victory. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong on this one, but I'm going to ride that horse that I predicted in the divisional prediction, saying that because of the mistake I believe the Browns made by not drafting Travis Hunter, I'm picking Jacksonville to win that division. We'll see.
I'll take Houston to cover and win. I don't feel great about it, but Bruce, Houston has to get something going here. The Panthers have gone against Carolina and Bengals defense. The Texans defense is legit. This will be the hardest defense they've faced by far so far in this season. It'll be up to Trevor Lawrence, but at the end of the day, I can't see the Texans going 0-3.
Philadelphia's -3.5. They're at home against the LA Rams. Tough one to pick. I'm going to go with the Rams. They played them tough in the playoffs a year ago. Philadelphia, I think, probably wins the game, but they maybe just play well enough to win. I don't know.
I'll take the Eagles, too. The Rams, though, are an NFC competitor for winning the Super Bowl as well, but I'll go Eagles until I see something that proves me not.
Pittsburgh's -1.5 at New England. I'm going to take the Patriots with Vrabel and company. I'm sorry.
I'm taking the Patriots as well. The Pittsburgh defense has shown me no signs of stepping up. Drake May's going to do enough offensively, and I like Vrabel in head-to-head with Mike Tomlin.
Denver's -2.5 at the LA Chargers. This is a good matchup here. And because the Chargers are at home, Herbert and Harbaugh with a year under their belts together with one another, I'm going to go with the Chargers.
I'm going to go with the Chargers as well. Broncos defense hasn't shown me enough to be the unit that I thought they were going to be, and Justin Herbert right now is playing to an MVP level. Bruce, this could be a game that decides that division as early as it is.
Arizona's -1.5. They're visiting the San Francisco 49ers, who are all banged up, as you know. Purdy is out. Kittles is out. Everything says you should take Arizona. Therefore, I'll take the Niners at home.
Man, if Arizona goes 3-0, what a start to their season. Going against Mac Jones, I didn't love what I saw out of him when they played the New Orleans Saints. Cardinals tried everything in their power to lose last week against the Panthers. They still came out with a victory. I'll rest on the Cardinals defense to get this win.
And finally, Baltimore's -5.5 at home against the Detroit Lions. Lions are a lot better than the Browns. I'll take Detroit to cover in this one.
I'll take Detroit to cover as well. Baltimore will see if their defense can step up against another competent opponent in the Detroit Lions. We saw what they did against Buffalo. We'll see if if the Lions can score as many points at home as they can on the road here.
And we'll see how we do following our picks here in NFL Week 3. All right, we address our attention to the college ranks when we come back on Bonus Time here on Big Play, brought to you by FanDuel.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Garage Beer. No bitterness, no frills, no IPA, just beer-flavored beer. Find local retailers who sell garage beer near you by visiting drinkgaragebeer.com.
Okay, let's turn our attention to the college ranks, where the number 1 ranked Buckeyes, a win over Ohio University, 37-9. Day just giving them a break, going through the motions, saying 347 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 13-3 was the score at halftime. Again, Day taking it easy. Idle next week for our Buckeyes, and then a trip to Washington, which will be an interesting challenge. We'll see. Penn State is ranked number 2 this week. They annihilated Villanova 52-6. Enough said there. Number 3, LSU will win over Florida 20-10. This game was 13-10 at halftime as the Tigers intercepted 5 times. LSU's defense, 3 sacks. Florida transfer Jake Ryburn says that this defense is fast, violent, physical, and aggressive. LSU coach Brian Kelly exploded after the game. Did you hear about this? He says, "What to the media?" He says, "What do you want?" They said, he was questioned about the win, the not a bigger win. He says, "What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?" Beautiful, Ryan.
Brian Kelly's such a polarizing figure ever since leaving Notre Dame. And I don't necessarily not like the guy, but he is very easy for some people to not like. I will say that.
Number 4, Miami this week with a win over South Florida, 49-12. Georgia transfer Carson Beck, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns. South Florida was ranked 18th because of opening the season with 2 wins against ranked teams at that time. One was Boise, and then who was 25th at the time, and then 13th ranked Florida. They've totally dropped out. But Miami is for real. And reality has set in at South Florida. And next up for Miami, they're a 7.5-point favorite at home against Florida. Number 5 is Georgia. They got a win against Tennessee 44-41 in overtime, 9 straight wins versus Tennessee. Georgia quarterback Gunnar Stockton, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Tennessee quarterback Joey Aguilar, 371 yards, 4 touchdowns, but had 2 picks. This was one of the premier games, maybe the top game. It was a fabulous college football game. It was a shame to see Tennessee lose.
You know, everything could happen this year, and LSU could go win the national championship, but until it happens, the SEC still runs through Georgia. Poor Rocky Top fans. That is a horrible way to lose. I felt horrible for the kicker who missed the game winner, potential game winner, I should say. But Gunnar Stockton seems to be the real deal, and Kirby Smart, one hell of a coach.
Oregon's number 6. They beat Northwestern 34-14. The Ducks didn't commit a penalty. I watched some of that game. They looked real good. Credit head coach Dan Lanning and his staff on this. But they dropped 2 spots in the AP. I don't understand that. Number 7 is Florida State. They were idle. They went up 3 spots. Number 8 is Texas, a win over UTEP, 27-10. Manning ran for 2 touchdowns, but he struggled again in the passing game. Number 9 is Illinois. They beat Western Michigan 38-0. They're getting 4.5 at number 19 Indiana this coming Saturday. That's a big game in the Big Ten. Number 10 is Texas A&M. Big win over Notre Dame on Saturday night, 41-40. First Aggie road victory against a top 25 ranked team since 2014. Notre Dame is now 0-2 after their first week loss to Miami. No more ranked teams on their schedule. Well, Southern Cal broke in this week. They're number 25. But Texas A&M rises 6 notches in the AP poll, Ryan.
Rightfully so. Marcel Reed had a tremendous game. Their offense was firing on all cylinders. For Notre Dame, you're now looking on the outside in of that college football playoff.
Yeah.
You mentioned the schedule. There's not many ranked opponents, none ranked, and not many projected to be ranked once they face them. If you're Marcus Freeman, you need to win convincingly. Not just win all the way out, but you need to win convincingly if you want a chance at the playoff.
Number 11 is Oklahoma. They're minus 6.5 at home against number 22 Auburn. That'll be a big game next week. Iowa State's number 12. Ole Miss is 13. They're minus 12.5 against Tulane at home. And Tulane's 3-0. They're no slouch, the Green Wave. Number 14's Alabama. They beat Wisconsin 38-14. And as a result, they rose 5 notches in the AP poll. Tennessee is 15. Already talked about them. Georgia Tech beat Clemson 24-21. Aiden Beer kicked the game-winning field goal as time expired. Georgia Tech coach Brent Key and the Yellow Jackets practiced a lot on clock management, and this scenario, outstanding coaching, outstanding. Dabo Sweeney, the Clemson coach, is now 1-2 after starting the season ranked at number 4. They have now dropped out of the top 25 entirely. Georgia Tech deservingly moves up 10 spots to get to number 18 in the AP poll. This was a great college game, Brian.
It was. Heck of a start to the season for Haynes King with the win over Colorado. I know Colorado's nothing to gloat about, but again, this win over Clemson, he looked tremendous. Clemson, the biggest disappointment so far this season, without a doubt. They looked horrible against Troy. They were losing at halftime, and now you already have 2 losses. Clemson, not in a good spot, but don't tell Dabo that because he'll get an attitude.
Our buddy Jensen Lewis is very happy because his Vanderbilt alma mater is now 20th in the country. They moved up 21 spots, can you believe it, with their win over South Carolina 31-7. Number 21 is Michigan. They beat Central Michigan 63-3. They're a 1.5-point favorite at Lincoln against a very improved Nebraska team with Rule. 3-0 the Cornhuskers are so far this year. Notre Dame's 24th in dropping 16 spots after their loss. And finally, Southern Cal is number 25. They moved up 5 spots to break into the top 25 with their 33-17 victory over Purdue. Weather delay of over 3 hours. They're a 15.5-point favorite over Michigan State in their upcoming game. And let me mention Michigan State. They beat Youngstown State 41-24. Spartans quarterback Jonathan Smith is the head coach, is the first head coach in Michigan State history to start 3-0 in his first 2 seasons. Michigan State is a much improved team. And despite YSU coach Doug Phillips saying that there are no moral victories. The Penguins at 2-0 are going to be seriously reckoned with the rest of the way in the FCS. Youngstown State is a good program, and they played Michigan State tough. I watched some of that game too, Ryan.
You know, that's awesome to see. You love to see that local teams. For USC, this is one of those years for Lincoln Riley where you either got to put up or you're going to get out of USC real quick. You mentioned Michigan State. After that, Bruce, Illinois, Michigan, Notre Dame, Nebraska. One of the best offenses in the country, but we'll see if they can do that against some good defenses coming up.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game, that Nebraska-Michigan game. I'm really anxious to see that, baby. All right, when we come back, it's the Ask Bruce segment. That's next on Bonus Time.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing, and same hometown level of service. Visit fairwayfordohio.com today.
Great to have you with us here on Bonus Time with Drennan on the Big Play Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. We always conclude the show with the Ask Bruce segment. Fire away with any of your questions, please. Sometimes we don't have much time for this segment. Other times we do. Got a little more time today, so fire away, Ryan.
Already, no surprise. We got a lot of Guardians questions for you, Bruce, but we'll start here with one for the Cleveland Browns before we dive into that. Hey, Bruce, which rookie have you been most impressed with through the first 2 weeks for the Cleveland Browns?
Well, it was, first 2 weeks, obviously, Sampson and Fannin both looked really good, but Baltimore, I think, as I mentioned in the Browns segment, is to be credited for shutting down those two rookies so effectively in this game, too. But Judkins played his first game, and I thought he played very well. I thought the linebacker, too. How do you pronounce it?
Schlesinger, yep.
I thought he has performed very well, too. And Graham is a good defensive lineman, even though I don't think they should have taken him. They should have not passed on Hunter. But, so it's a good crop of rookies that they do have, but we're not scoring. What did I say when I disagreed so much with them trading away the number one pick, which would have been Hunter? What did I say? I said they need weapons. How many touchdowns is Graham going to score as opposed to Hunter? I mean, are the Browns capable of scoring 30, 40, let alone 50 points like some of these NFL teams have to do to stay in contention? I rest my case.
All right, let's flip it over to our Red Hot Guardians. Hey, Bruce, do you believe that Kyle Manzardo's power production in his first full season has offset the loss of Josh Naylor?
Oh, who's
Kyle Manzardo?
Oh, Manzardo. Yeah, they know what they're doing in that front office, Antonetti and Chernoff. They really do. And Naylor, of course, went to San Diego, did well, then was traded before the deadline, went to Seattle. They're now in serious contention, going to be playing in the postseason, it appears. So, I think that Manzardo's going to be a dandy for the future, as I do with Kafis. We haven't seen DeLauder. He's highly touted. Haven't seen Brito. He's highly touted. Haven't seen Bazzana. He's highly touted. Future's bright.
Alrighty. Hey, Bruce, what are your thoughts on the Detroit Tigers still choosing to roll out Tariq Skubal despite him not being 100% healthy?
That's a risk for them. I know where they're coming from and keeping him in the groove and all, but boy, with the forthcoming play. And, well, let me ask you, Ryan, I don't see them winning the American League pennant.
No, I don't either. And you're right, it is a huge risk. 5.5 games, odds are you're going to win the division. You're really resting your laurels on the Cleveland Guardians being able to score run production that many times to take the crown from you. I think it's a bad decision. But what does it say about the Guardians, the fact that their front office is looking at it and still feeling the need to roll out Tariq Skubal?
Question is, who's going to win the American League flag? Bichette just got hurt for Toronto, with a bad knee at a slide at home plate. He was the hottest hitter in baseball, and so he's done for the rest of this regular season. He's questionable for the playoffs for Toronto, and they're vulnerable. The Yankees are there, but their pitching is vulnerable. Houston is hot or cold. I mean, maybe it is Seattle. Who knows? Wouldn't that be a story with Raleigh the way he's going? He broke Mickey Mantle's record for the most home runs by a switch hitter with 2 of them in his last game to go to 56.
Also, shout out Dominic Canzone, a Northeast Ohio native, went to Ohio State, I believe high school Welsh Jesuit, who had a phenomenal game for the Mariners yesterday. All right, hey, Bruce, how are the Guardians still alive despite their absurd negative run differential? And what does that say about this team's fight?
I said this a few weeks ago, and I'll reiterate. If somehow they can earn a wild card spot, does not Stephen Vogt again deserve serious consideration for Manager of the Year? with the facts that we pointed out in the first segment, 10-game losing streak, 1-11 or whatever that was in unbelievable in August. And here they are. Food for thought.
Alrighty, last one for you, Bruce. How long can the Guardians keep rolling out this 6-man rotation?
Well, they're young pitchers. I don't mind it because they're all young. And I think there are times like this example where it's warranted. So I don't blame them with Carl Willis advising young manager Stephen Vogt to do so with this group, especially going into the stretch drive and possibly into the playoffs. We're going to be deep if we do get in, that's for sure. Well, that's all the time we do have for this version of Bonus Time with Drennan here on the Big Play Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. I'm Bruce Drennan on behalf of Ryan Smith. Hope you enjoyed the show, and hope you'll join us next week when we'll have a lot on our platter again. So until then, as always, and most importantly, you remember, I love you, Ohio, and I love you, Cleveland.